In this video, we'll see how we can migrate the data from RDS SQL Server to S3 bucket using AWS DMS service. So we're going to do both full load as well as CDC from RDS SQL Server to S3 bucket. Let's jump into AWS and see how it's going to work. Right now, I'm in AWS portal. I'm going to click on RDS. So I'm going to click on Manage Relation Database Service. So right now I don't have any database here, so I'm going to click on Create Database. So here I'm going to use Microsoft SQL Server. I'm going to click Standard Create. Then I'm going to click the engine option as Microsoft SQL Server, and I'm going to use database management type as Amazon RDS. And the edition I'm going to use here is like Server Standard Edition. Since I'm going to plan to do CDC for the demo, so if I go with SQL Server Express Edition, then we cannot do the CDC part. So in order to enable CDC, we have to either use the SQL Server Standard Edition or SQL Server Enterprise Edition. So for that purpose, I'm choosing a SQL Server Standard Edition. So if I use Server Express Edition, we cannot do a CDC. So that's the reason I'm choosing this Server Standard Edition here. So here I'm going to use I have to use the default version. Like right now I'm using this version 15.0041982.2 version. I'm using the default one here. My template I'm gonna use dev test because it's for demo purpose. I'm gonna use dev test here. So the database, I'm gonna create my own database here. So the database identity I'm giving as database, I'm gonna mention as a SQL database here, and I'm gonna create the user ID here, master username I'm given as admin, and I'm gonna give a password here. I'm gonna give a confirm the password. Next major thing is instant configuration. So we need to choose the configuration here. So either we can choose standard class or from this option we can choose the one. So I'm going to use standard classes here. So I'm going to use the large instance, which is less cost come but other instance type. So if you go to higher instance, it's going to cost more. So since for this demo, it's a demo purpose, I'm going to use the large instance here. But the small instance, if you want to create a small instance, then you can choose other options here. Either you can use this server express edition. It's gonna it should be you can choose the instance small type, but from the standard edition it's going to be a large. So that's the reason, because from standard only we can have the CDC enabled. So that's the reason I'm just using the standard edition here. So I'm using this instance classes large. This is the least one here. So I'm choosing that one. The storage is 20 is sufficient for my demo. I'm just keeping as it is. I don't need an auto scaling here because it's just for demo purpose. I'm going to disable this one, and also this availability and durability. So this is demo purpose. I'm just keeping it as no here. If you want to have a high availability, then you can mention this as yes here. So it's going to create another instance in the another region. So that's the reason that make it high available. But for this demo, it's a demo purpose, so I'm going to use it as no here. The connectivity. So here, so I'm using a default option here. Do not connect to an in-situ computer instance, because I'm creating directly in the RDS itself. I'm creating this one. So the next one is VPC. I'm going to click create new VPC for this one, and just create a new subnet group for this one, publicly accessible. So I'm going to give this options for access yes, so that I can access it from outside. But normally it's the best practice to give it as no here, but since it's a demo purpose, I'm going to keep it as yes here. The VP security group I'm choosing as a default one here. Then availability zone. So the VP security group, I'm going to create a new one here because I don't have any security group, so I'm creating a new one here. So here I'm going to give it as SQL Server security group here. and the availability zone makes no preference here. Then if you want additional authentication, you can choose this option. I'm monitoring. Right now I don't want to do anything on, because since it's a demo purpose, I don't want to use this option here. Click on disabling this one. So if you see the estimated monthly cost is showing us this much USD. So I'm going to delete this after the usage of this demo. So I'm going to click on create database. So once you click on this one, it's going to create the SQL server for us. It's going to take some time. I'll come back once it is created. Right now it isn't creating status, so I'll just come back once it is created. Currently the database is created. You could see the status here is available now. So when you click on this one, the database SQL database here, you will find the endpoints here. So with the help of endpoint, you can able to connect to this SQL server. And before connecting into this SQL server, we need to make some settings in the security group. So right now, you could under the security, you could see this security group here. Click on. I'm going to open this in the new window. So this is the security group. So if you see here, like if you go, if you select this one, you can find this inbound roles and outbound roles. So you have to click on inbound roles, and here you have to click on inbound roles and click on edit inbound roles here. So when you click on edit, so you will find this option here. So I'm going to add a new rule here. So this rule is like I'm going to use allow all the traffic. So either you can choose all traffic, or you can choose auto traffic from Microsoft SQL, MS SQL here, and the TCP and the port number 1433. So here you have to give the IP range, from which IP you want to connect to this SQL server. Since the demo purpose, I'm going to use like all the IP address. So I'm going to use this 0.0 0.0/0, this IP address, so that I can connect this SQL from outside. If you want to give a specific ID, you can give a specific ID in this one. So click on save rules. So once you save this is going to get reflected into this one. So from outside also we can able to connect to this RDS. So I just quickly show how we can connect the SQL server from SSMS. So I'm going to copy this one. The port number is 1433. Right now I'm in SSMS, that is SQL Server Management Studio. Server type as database engine, and I'm going to give this server name as the endpoints we copied from the RDS. And authentication, I'm going to give as SQL Server authentication, and the login I'm giving as admin, and the password this you gave when you created this RDS. So I'm giving that one. I'm going to click on connect here. See, now you could see the RDS is connected now. So you can click on database. You could see all the default one here. So I'm going to create a new database for my for this demo. I'm going to click on new query here. So this will give me a query pane where you can write your queries. So I'm going to create a database first here. So I'm going to write statement create database is test db. So I'm going to run this command. So you could the command run successfully, and you refresh this one. You could see that test db will pop up in the front side. So you could see test db. So I'm gonna create a table in the inside in this one. Use test db. So this is just to make sure like whatever I'm doing, it's reduced inside this database test db. So I'm gonna create a table now. Then I'm gonna create table some employee table. Then I'm gonna put a IDS integer there and put a name as varchar of 30. This is just a demo purpose. I'm gonna create this table. Just quickly run this one and see if we're able to create a table here. Sorry, I need to put a bracket here. So our table has been created, so I'm going to put an insert row into this table. So insert into table employee, the value is 1 comma John, something like that. Table values, sorry. So one row is inserted. Now I'm going to put one more entry to this one. Just some sample dummy data here. So if you query this table, so right now I have two entries now. Two entries. One is ID, the column name is ID and name, and the entries are 1 and 2, and the name is John and Peter. These are the sample data I have in my SQL server. So my SQL server is ready. Now we see how we can connect my data from the SQL server into S3 bucket with the help of DMS, and we are going to enable the CDC in RDS. So let's quickly see how we can do this one. Right now I'm in AWS portal. I just quickly create a replication task in DMS. So in the new window I'm gonna choose DMS Database Migration Service. So right now I don't have any migration task here or any replication instance or any, it's totally empty. So I'm first for DMS, first we need to create a replication instance. This is nothing but an easy to instance, like just say what kind of instance you want to do this, what instance you want to do for this migration, a small or medium or large, you have to pick a one. This is nothing but a manage EC2 instance. So just click on create replicate instance. So here I'm going to choose some instance name here. So this is SQL Server, some SQL Server CDC instance. I want to choose just some random some name here. Then you can choose the description, whatever you want you can use. So here this is an instance class. So since this is a demo purpose, I'm going to choose the micro one. So based on our requirement, you can choose instance type here. So if your volume of data is more, then you can choose a big instance. So based on your requirement, you can choose the instance type, instance class here. Since this is a demo, I'm going to use the micro one here. So something for my data. So the engine version, I'm going to use the default one here. Then storage, I'm going to save as 50. Even I don't need this much. It's fine to have it. I just going to keep as it is. VPC, here I'm going to already have one VPC. I'm going to use the one VPC here. Multi-easy, I'm going to use test or dev. Public access, choose of default option here. So I'm going to click on create. So now it's showing the status creating. So it will be created within 1 or 2 minutes. So the next thing we need, first you need this instance, then you have to create endpoints here. So I'm going to click on endpoints. Here click on create endpoint. So here we need to choose two endpoints. One is from where we want to copy the data, and when next is where you want to place the data. So the source is the one where you want to take the data, and target is one where you want to put the data. So for my source is SQL Server and target is S3 bucket. So I'm going to use source endpoint here. So if it's some RDS, you can click on this one option and it will list down all the RDS instance. You can choose it from there, or you can manually give this option also. That's shouldn't be a problem. So here I'm going to use the endpoint source identifier. So I'm going to use this one as some source SQL server, just a endpoint identifier. Then the source engine is SQL server. I'm going to give the endpoint database manually here. This is a server name. So since I choose this option here, enable this option here, that's the reason you could see this auto populated here. Otherwise you can copy this the endpoint from here and you can paste it here also. That also you can do. The port number is 1433. Username is admin and the password which you gave while creating the password when creating this SQL server. So here the database name. If you want to give, you can give the database name here, or you can leave as it is. And click. I'm going to test this one. Let's quickly test this how it is, whether you're able to connect to the server. Let's test this one. Click on run test. Oh, the parameter database name is not provided. So the parameter database not provided. We created a test DB, so I'm going to give this test DB. Test DB. Okay, let's run test. So yeah, so the replication is not yet active. So once it is active, then we can create this one. Let's quickly check this one. So it is still created, still creating. So if you see the endpoint here, it is there, but it is not tested actually. If you go inside and see the connections, still you don't see anything option here. So once it's successful, only you're able to connect to this endpoints. So since I just came out, this endpoint is created now, but it is not being tested. So once the application is created, then we can test that SQL Server endpoint connection. Yeah, now this SQL Server, this replica instance is created. So it's a micro one, so you could see the micro. So see the classes micro here. So now the instance type is created. So we'll go to the endpoint. So as we choose all the options here, right? We gave all the connections, like we gave this SQL Server endpoint, so admin, username admin, and the password we gave, and server name we gave, database name also we gave test DB. So now we're going to click on connections, click test connections. So replica instance, I'm going to use the same replica instance which is created just before. So run test. So now it's showing us successful. Now quickly to clear the target endpoint. So I'm going to create a target endpoint. To choose a target here. So I'm going to use target S3. So I'm going to choose engine type here. So here I can choose Amazon S3. So the bucket name. So we need to provide a bucket name here. So quickly I just create an S3 bucket here. So I just quickly go into S3. Create bucket. So the bucket name I'll just put a DMS bucket. Bucket. The region I'm going to choose is London region here. So remaining I'm going to keep everything as a default one here. Yes, create bucket. it's already exist, so I'm gonna click DMS CDC bucket. So see if you could see the bucket name is here. This is the bucket I've created right now. I'm going to give the bucket name here. There is bucket folder. I'm not going to choose anything here. So the endpoint settings, nothing here. I'm going to test this endpoint now. Run test. Yeah, for this one, right, when you choose S3 is an option, target S3, so you have to provide this service access role ARN. So we need to provide a service access role here. So for that purpose we need to create a role. I'm going to create a role in IAM. Go to IAM. So you need access to this, right? This bucket should have access to this. So I'm going to click on roles. So click on create role. So AWS service. Click on the AWS service here. Then choose DMS. Allow DMS. Click on next here. Yes, 3. You need to attach these policies, this S3 full access, so that this DMS can access the S3 bucket. So you have to click on this S3 full access, then you have to go click on next. So you have to go give a role name here. So DMS role. I'm going to create a new role now, DMS role. So for this DMS role I'm creating a S3 full access. So click on create role access. So I'm going to give another version CDC role, DMS CDC role, create role. So view this role. If you see, this is the ARN. I'm going to copy this ARN and I'm going to paste that ARN in this one. So this is the service access role. So with the help of this one we're able to access the S3 bucket. So I'm going to run test. So now to show this testing. So one thing to note here is, like, even if the test fails, the endpoint going to create in the endpoint section that you saw earlier as well. Like when I was trying to create the source, so at that time replication instance was not ready. Even then I just came out. Even then it was created there. So that's like you should remember that even if it test fails here, still the endpoint will be created in that endpoint option, this section. So now it's successful. So create endpoints. So I have two endpoints now. One is the source endpoint, one is the target endpoint, source SQLServer and target S3 bucket. So both are ready now. Now I'm going to database migration service. This is the one where the actual migration task, match migration will happen here. So click on create task. So this is my CDC task. So I'm gonna SQLServer to S3 CDC. Okay, just some name I've given here. So there will be instance. I'm going to choose the instance you created before. So that's a small instance, micro instance. Then I need to choose the database endpoint. So SQL source endpoint. Then I'm going to choose the target database endpoint. It is 3. Then migrate type. So here is the main. We have to choose the migrate type here. You have to choose either the full load or full load plus CDC or only CDC. For example, it's migrate existing data is full load, and migrate existing data and ongoing changes means full load plus CDC changes. Replication changes only means it's only CDC. So for this demo, I'm going to choose the second option, migrate existing data and replicate ongoing changes. Click on this one. You could see here I've chosen the second option, like this float plus the CDC. The task settings. So I'm going to use wizard here, and I'm going to keep the default one as it is. Disable custom CDC stop mode. I don't have anything custom things here, so I'm going to keep as it is. Target replication mode, do nothing, because right now I don't have any tables SD bucket, so I'm going to keep this do nothing here. And the remaining I'm going to keep as it is. So the next thing you want to note here is the table mapping. So you need to provide a table mapping, what tables you want to migrate. So right now either you can do an entire migration, or you can select certain tables also here. So for this demo I'm going to choose only one table I have, so employee. So source DB name, source name, source schema name is DBO, and the source table name is employee. Includes if you want to include everything. If you want to add any specific transformation rules, you can mention here. If you click on add transformation rules, it will list any rules you want to apply on this one. You can do this here. So right now I don't have anything, so I'm just gonna keep not choose. I'm gonna not do anything in this transformation rules here. Then that's it. So I'm gonna click on create task now. So click on create task. This is gonna take some time. Hopefully it's gonna get failed, because in order to perform CDC we need to make some changes in the database level. Right now I didn't do that, so it will fail. So once it is failed, let's go and do the same thing, and let's do the CDC configuration in the SQL server. Then we can do this migration. I'll come back once this status changes from creating to available already. So when you create this data migration task, first it will go into ready status, then it goes into started. Immediately, like, you don't have to trigger anything, just it goes in ready, then immediately followed by started, then it goes to running, then it goes to complete. So right now the status showing is failed, as we know that because we did not enable CDC on the source. So that's the reason it is showing us status is failed. So if you click on this go inside this replication task, you would see the error message here. So this is error is made mainly because we did not enable the CDC. So first, in order to do the replication CDC, we need to first enable the CDC in the source. So this is a documentation we could see in the AWS documentation page. We have this documentation available. So what it says is so AWS DMS offer two methods of capturing ongoing changes. One is MS replication and MS CDC. So these are the two methods of enabling CDC. One is MS replication, MS CDC. And Amazon RDS instance that run on SQL Server must use MS CDC, because Amazon RDS does not support this admin privileges. So when you are using a RDS SQL Server, you have to use MS CDC. And if you are using a EC2 instance and that is for creating a SQL Server, then we can go for MS applications. So in our demo we are using RDS SQL Server, so we can use only MS CDC. So if you want to enable this MS CDC, we have some commands here. So these three commands we have to enable. We have to run in the SQL Server. The first one is we need to enable the CDC on the database name. Then we need to enable CDC on the table level name. So these three commands. This command is to enable on the database level, and this command is to enable on the table level. So we need to provide the schema name and the table name here. And third command is this is to increase the retention period of the transaction T logs. So this is a command we need to execute. So basically we need to run these three commands to enable on the CDC on the source side. I'll just quickly run this in SQL Server, and you can run this task again. Now I'm in SSMS. So we saw that we need to execute those three commands. The first one is to enable CDC at the database level. So my database is testdb and the table name is dbo.employee. The dbo is schema name. So first one is, this is the enable at the database level. So I'm going to run this command now. So CDC enable on database testdb. So that's a message you got when you execute this command. Next I need to enable CDC at the table level. So I need to put schema name. The schema name is dbo and the temp source name is employee. Table name is employee. So I'm going to run this one. So what it says is like job CDC testdb capture started successfully. CDC testdb cleanup started successfully. So the store push executed and the CDC started for this tables. The final things, we need to enable this logging. So it's capture the time frame. Like we need to save for more than for a long time. We have to choose this 349 option. This command, you have run this command. So command. So now all three commands executed. Let's rerun this task and see how it works. Right now I'm in CDC task. Right now I'm in the data migration task. So if you click on this one, so if you see the error message, it says like DMS has not been enabled on database testdb. That's the reason it got failed. So now we have enabled this CDC on the testdb. So let's rerun this one and see how it works. I'm going to restart now. Restart resume. I'm going to restart from the beginning. So start task. So see, now status changed to starting and soon it's changed to running. So when you click this one, if you go inside this this task in the table statistics, you can list on all the tables whichever is being migrated. So that list you can see here. Right now it is not showing. So once it is changed to running, then you could see the table names here actually. So just let's wait for this. See, now you could see the table names, DBO table name, and see the full load. So we entered two rows right in the table. So if you remember, like in the RDS we entered two rows, one is one John and two Peter something. That's the reason you could see the values here. So now if you see changes, now it's showing status load complete, applications ongoing. So now we could see the table statistics, it's completed now, table completed, and you could see full load as 2 here, right? So now quickly see this in the target. Let's go into target, and this is the bucket name, right? We configure, right? So let's go into this bucket and see whether we could see the file in that particular bucket. So right now I'm in DMS CDC bucket. Click on DBO and go into employee. Now you could see the file here. So this is the file. So when I click on click on this object options, query with S3 select, then you can directly view the data in the file. So click on this one, run SQL query. So now you could see this two data you could see here. So now the full migration is completed. You could see the full data migration is complete now. Now let's quickly see the CDC part. Let's quickly go into RDS and add some rows into this one and see how it works here. So right now I'm in an SSMS, so I'm gonna do these operations in the table. So first one is I'm going to insert a new row into the table. So insert employee, the value is 3, and the new name, the value is new name here. So I'm going to insert this one. So I did one insert. Then I'm going to update existing row. So we have row of 1 and 2 in the tables. So as you see here, currently we have 3 rows here. So one is one John, Twitter, and new name. So this one we have inserted now. So I'm going to update the existing one. So ID equal to 1 John, I'm going to change it to new name change here. So this update statement I'm executing now, and if I'm going to delete this id equal to now. So I've executed all these three comments. Let's see how it going to reflect in that DMS. So here the data migration task is like our replication is ongoing, so you don't have to manually do anything here. So once you insert, update, delete or anything in the tables, automatically it's going to reflected in this one. So let's quickly see the S3 bucket and see what happened here. So this is our bucket, the DBU and employee, and you could see we could see a file here. So if you open this file, I did not run anything manually, so since it's an ongoing one, so this is going to automatically takes all the changes in the table and going to reflect into this file here. So right now we could see this file, new file here. Initial load is with load this file name, and from the delta and the CDC onwards is going to put the timestamp here. So I'm going to click on this one. On the object actions, I'm going to choose query with S3 select. If you see the output now, you could see one insert. The first letter shows what type of operation it is. I is insert, U is update, and D is delete. So you could see we have three operations done in this table. So that's the same thing could see in the file also. So one insert, this particular row is inserted, this particular row is updated, and that particular row is deleted from the tables. So in this way we can capture the CDC full load. I mean, we can do the full load plus the CDC changes in the SQL Server. So in the, again, like if you want to make any change, like if you want to change this file format, all those things you can do. You can go to the endpoints, and in that you can choose whatever file format you want. You can modify here. So here you have to choose a different file format. If it's a Parquet, you can choose the options in this one. Based on your choose option, right now everything is converted to CSV. That's the reason you could see all the CSV files there. If you want to change it to Parquet, you can change it in this option here. So now we could see like how we can use DMS to do a full load plus ongoing CDC. So so in this way we can create both full load as well as CDC extract from using DMS. So here you could see one is the full load, other one is this CDC changes. That's pretty much for this video. Thanks for watching.